Welcome to this place called A Woman's Story. I'm so glad that you found your way here, and I hope that you're going to find something that you're looking for. I always say, imagine the possibilities for your life if you could simply tell yourself a new story about who you are and what you're capable of doing. You see, too many times in life, women shortchange themselves. Um, they take on a lot of responsibilities. They try to do everything whilst maybe having little time left over to look after themselves or find what they want in life. As women, we're doers and we're caretakers and we try really hard. And sometimes we get lost in the shuffle and we just keep on going and we just keep on trying. We just keep on doing. But there comes a time in every woman's life, and it doesn't matter how old you are, because sometimes it happens very young, and it can happen several times in life. It can happen when you're older, where you have to kind of stop and say, but who am I in all of this? And what is it that I want? And what have I forgotten to do for myself? I created this place to help women really stop and look at themselves and find their potential and find their old hidden dreams. What were their goals? What were their wishes? What were their desires? What did they start out wanting to do, but then life took them to different places and gave them sometimes more than they could handle? Sometimes they got hurt, they got lost, they failed, but they kept trying. And they took on all the burdens along the way. I created a simple program called The Gift of Retelling Your Story. And I created this um, over a period of a few years because I wanted to find a way to help women. I wish I had had this as I was going on my journey. And I can tell you that it is what has helped me many times along the way. So, what it is, it's a simple, uncomplicated 12-part, you can call it a life course, but it is a simple process, and yet it's going to change you. And I guarantee that if you take it, you will never be the same, nor will you think of things the same. You will actually have a blueprint for your life. Because so many times we say we want something in life, but sometimes what we want is based on our fears and not really based on what we really want. Because again, as women, we learn to accept not what we want, but what we must do, what we must do to make everything go good, to appear. We hide our potential. We don't step forward, and sometimes those that do step forward are known as being a little brash, a little bold, and sometimes they're talking too loud because they're hiding some of their pain inside. We all have our ways, and women have learned to adjust. They've learned to hide. They've learned to keep things to themselves. Um, but sometimes the burden for doing that becomes very heavy. So, in the gift of retelling your story, you're going to understand how you got to this point in your life. You're going to understand your own story because we each have a story in our lives. Our lives are basically built on the story that we started out with, that was told to us as a child. And we got to this point, however old you are, it doesn't matter if you're young or old. We got to this point in our life based on the experiences, the beliefs, uh, and our interactions with other people, what we've learned along the way. And that becomes our story. And sometimes our story is based on a lot of false information. And we believe things that are not even true. And sometimes we're critical of ourselves based on what other people think. Um, and that's not right because you can never really be happy if you're always looking over your shoulder, wondering what you should do because it may matter to somebody else. At some point in time, you got to stand up for yourself. And the gift of retelling your story is really all about that. So you'll understand your own story. You'll go through a slow process of understanding what it is you want, because sometimes that gets buried in layers of our challenges and experiences and our responsibilities. We lose our way. And we have to get back to it because we can never really be happy in life if we don't get back to what we really want, how we want to live our life. And I'm not talking about riches and luxuries and all that, those are all fine. But sometimes that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a connection back to ourselves, our real selves. So you'll find that in the gift of retelling your story. And then you'll also find ways to maybe heal a part of your story. Because sometimes we have to learn to heal, to let go, to forgive, and to walk away from. Because we cannot live our best life if we're filled with the bitterness, pain, regret, sorrow, sadness. We have to learn to let go of that. And again, that's a process because it's easy to say, let go. But depending on how we were hurt, it's not that easy. So there's a process for that. We can't just wash it away. We have to understand it. We have to understand how to look at it as part of our story. We have to free ourselves from the past, from those beliefs that are no longer working for us, nor that we need, and from those experiences that have such a tight grip on us. Here in this place called A Woman's Story, you're going to learn more about yourself and you're going to gain a freedom. It's all about you and your story. Nobody else has your story. Nobody else can live your story. You're the only one who can understand it. And no matter who you go to and what help you go to, it still comes back to you being the one to change your story. Do the things that are important to you. And if you don't do it, then you miss out on the best part of your life. Maybe it's time for you now to give yourself this one thing, the gift of retelling your story. Take a look around and see if it's something that resonates with you. Do this for yourself. And remember, kindness matters, and that includes being kind to yourself.